Okay, but
Two participants.
of course, he's got to do this part. He's got to
Two
do this
online.
part, this part.
Okay, for, you know which one it's for?
That seems a lot.
I have
No
no
idea.
idea.
Okay.
It does.
I can ask them if you want.
Nah, it's okay.
Well, they gotta get that tree out too.
Oh.
It's huge.
Okay.
It's huge and it goes way out. It goes way out. It's a big, big old tree. And it's over the wall. That weed, that's gonna cost.
Don't know. Maybe something, that would be a refreshing thing.
The 10,000 was included.
Right, you good?
We're good.
All right, welcome everybody to the regular stated meeting of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission. This is the meeting for Thursday, May 5th, 2022. This is to formally advise that as required by GL Chapter 30A, Section 18 through 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, the Yarmouth Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting at the date and time noted above. The public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided above. We will go right into our first order of business, which is a request for determination. This is for Curtis Y.S. Diggs, 310 Long Pond Road, proposed removal of fallen tree from storm, leaving stump in place and repairing existing stairs damaged by fallen tree within the buffer zone to Long Pond. Okay, come on up, if you want to just come up to the table here. Take your time and get yourself organized, and then when you're ready to go, just state your name for the record and briefly describe what you'd like to do.
My name is Curtis Diggs. I live at 310 Long Pond Drive. And what I would like to do is take out the tree that's actually laying in the water right now and repair the stairs that were there, repair stairs that were existing when we purchased the home.
Okay, and this is within buffer zone, okay. All right, is there any questions from the commission?
I'd like to thank you for coming in.
All set, Paul, you're all set. Ellie, did you have?
You're gonna leave the stump in
Yes.
place, right?
Yeah,
And you're
it's
just
gonna-
gonna work around the stump with the brick work and everything
It's
that
gonna-
goes
it's
there.
gonna be flush cut.
Okay. And you're gonna make sure that none of the
You're gonna be able to do plans?
cement
Can
or
you just do
anything
the plans?
flows into the pond if there's, so should we have a silt fence there while he's working on that so that the cement, if we get a rainstorm, doesn't flow in there? No, we're good? Okay.
Okay, silt fence.
Did you say yes to the silt fence?
Well, I was asking if they thought a silt fence would be necessary, but he won't be working in the rain with the cement, so I think you're, yeah, I think you're all set.
We don't need a silt fence.
So it's just leaving the stump and repairing the stairs around that. Okay, thank you.
Is it?
And leaving the stump.
Still have a few more.
Okay, okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, if not, would somebody like to make a motion for a -3?
So moved.
Second, Tom.
Is there a second? Thank you, Tom. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, so this is a negative determination. With the negative is a positive thing for you. It means that you don't have to do any further filing with Conservation Commission. So you're all set with that, and you'll be able to go wait until next week. Just come in early next week, and we'll have what's called a determination for you.
Okay.
And then we'll have that all signed and ready to go for you. And then after you get that, technically you should wait 10 days. And then we'll go from there. Okay, and then you can go ahead.
Would I get the permit at that time?
I'm sorry?
Would I get the permit?
Yes, yeah. So come in early next week, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
and, oh wait, and when is she?
Wednesday.
Heidi from our office
Okay, I know Heidi.
will
yeah.
she'll give you a call or send you an email when it's ready.
There you
And
go.
you can come on in then.
Okay, then they have to wait 10 days after that before I. actually do
You
it.
should, yes.
Okay, all right, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
you probably could get away with it, but
No, look, it's been laying in the water for 3 months, so another 10 days not gonna make a difference.
there you go.
Okay.
I'm completely out. Do you have a pen? Thank you. All right, you're all set then. Thank you very much.
Okay,
you.
thank you guys for your consideration.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right, moving on, we have continued notice of intent, continued from April 21st, 2022 for Alexander Namenov, 2 Buttercup Lane, Yarmouth, proposed raise and replace of a single-family dwelling with new septic and landscaping. And I believe we have another correspondence asking for yet another continuance. So regarding 2 Buttercup Lane, I request continues to May 19th as the survey is complete and will be in my hands Friday. I have to restake the house and remeasure the various new encroachments. So that's from Wayne Tavares. Do I have a motion to continue this to May 19th?
So moved, Ellie.
Second.
Was this his phone?
Oh,
No, it's somebody else.
no, that must be,
Oh, is that his? I will run out.
I don't think so.
Can you see him?
Right.
it must be his. It's none of ours, so.
Rick second?
Yes.
We were gonna make Dan go run go run it after.
You vote? No, we didn't vote yet.
I'm not gonna remember anything on this Buttercup.
Can vote.
from February.
Yeah, I'm waiting to, I'm just working on some of this stuff because I have to get through it. That was David. And Rick.
Here we are, sir.
Of course, we don't have our continued.
I didn't motion it. Elliot motion.
Oh, thank you.
And I second. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, not his?
I wasn't fast enough. He was
Oh,
gone down the road, so we'll get a hold of him. He'll be back.
be back.
All right, so we have a motion to continue to May 19th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Don't sign.
No sign. Does get heavy around.
Right, next order of business is another continued hearing for notice of an intent continued from April 21st, 2022 for SE 83-2338, 11 Prince Road, proposed pool and patio areas with associated mitigation plantings within the buffer zone to salt marsh and a coastal bank and within land subject to coastal storm flowage. Dan.
Good evening, Chairman Hoops, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Dan Ojala. I'm a land surveyor and civil engineer with Down Cape Engineering in Yarmouthport. You folks will remember this one. We met 2 weeks ago on and had some good discussion. And I think the general consensus was that it looked okay as long as we brought a couple of conditions. The neighbor to the south had requested that we move the pool equipment away from his side, and we did put that up in this area here. I had initially marked it up a little bit further by the corner of the garage. So I guess it'd be like an alternate position, but I think that's going to be close enough by any measure. And then the commission wanted to make sure we noted the pervious patio. And I did get assurance from Chris Kenny that they're using the salt generator system on this, which keeps the chlorine and the chemicals down very low. So we could tuck that in as a condition, or I could add an extra note to the plan, but that will certainly happen. So those were the changes we discussed. Again, this is a title embayment off of Lewis Bay, Mill Creek. The mouth of coastal rivers pushes the rivers a little further up, but we were concerned about the coastal bank. But again, you're getting a very significant ratio of new mitigation to hardscape, and it's taking up lawn area, which isn't particularly a nice thing to have near the Mill Creek. So I think the commission was in pretty good order to vote for it, despite it being in the front of the area. We think it's an excellent benefit to have that 1,600 square foot of lawn pulled up and mitigated and create a nice habitat there against the creek, the saltwater pond. So that would be that on this one. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any questions? Comments?
Dan, nice job reconfiguring the patio around the pool. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody in the audience? Anybody in Zoom?
We do have a hand raised. Andrew. Mills?
Okay, Andrew Mills.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
If you just state your name and your address and state your comments.
Yeah, Andrew Mills. I live permanently at 2 McDuck Drive in Southborough, but representing the house directly to the south at 166 Baxter Avenue. I just want to say thank you for moving the pool equipment. It's much appreciated. Dan, appreciate that. And I had one question to the board. Just wondering, because I'm on the planning board in my hometown, and we get a lot from the Conservation Commission and open space requirements and things. I'm wondering if you guys ever require like a retractable top because it's so close to the marsh. If anything, any animals were to come up, they wouldn't get stuck in the pool or anything like that. You know, one of those retractable tops that would seal off and keep any critters or anything from getting in there. I didn't know if that was something, I'm not asking for that to be mandated. I didn't know if that was something you guys ever thought of just in general for pools being put, you know, close to the saltwater line. That was my only question to the committee.
Thank you. I mean, generally, we don't have a regulation for that. I believe, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a building code thing though, right? Isn't there a?
Yeah, you know, there's actually, it's sort of set up to encourage them now because Yarmouth is one of the towns that doesn't have a specific local fence regulation. And if you put on what's called an auto cover, which is a cover that automatically will close and would serve the purpose of keeping the critters out, then you don't need to put a pool fence around it. And so some people think, well, that's attractive because I don't have to look at the pool fence. And so they'll spend a few thousand, well, a number of thousand extra to do that. So, but I would think that, you know, on a couple of levels, not having a fence and then having a cover is probably good for the, you know, for the environment. So it's kind of taking care of itself, I think, because Yarmouth has not, you know, required a local fence. I think it'll probably happen more and more. And I'll certainly inquire if they would like to put in an auto cover. It's usually a little bit of a pricey upgrade, but you know, it's for a safety thing and like you say, for the environment too. So we can certainly mention it to the owner, but I wouldn't want to require it at this time.
I wasn't trying to force the owner to do that. I was just asking for a policy going forward if that was something that the committee was looking for. I know in our town, we're looking at putting like straight native species in for new plantings and everything to help the pollinators and the bees and everything. So, you know, just trying to protect the marsh and the animals in there, just thinking that, you know, forward, that might be something for the committee to think about. That's all. But again, thank you for moving the pool equipment. Appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there anybody else? No, I don't think so.
see any other hands up.
Okay. All right, unless there's any further discussion among the board, would somebody like to make a motion to, or would somebody like to make a motion to approve?
So moved, Ellie.
And we need.
Oh,
for
conditions,
this.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. I thought I was getting off
Tried.
easy there. Yeah, okay. So it's a pool, correct? So we're gonna do the general 1 through 7. Single family work limit. I think we should have number 14.
Yeah. Know if I strenuously object or not. We didn't discuss this. It's all good. It's pretty easy because we're working within an existing developed area here, so that takes a lot of care
Yeah,
of a
I
lot
think
of
we should do
things.
14 through 19. And 24. And this will be a salt.
Yes, salt generator system. Yeah.
Salt. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. We should look at that saltwater pool thing because I think there's a little misunderstanding on how much salt is in these, but we'll leave that for now.
Yeah.
Very little salt, but just enough.
Mitigation, okay, no beach fill, no boat lift.
No waterfront?
We need a 44 and a 45. Is there anything else that I missed?
Second. I'll second.
Okay, David seconds. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you, Dan.
Super. Thank you very much for your time.
Getting off easy.
Don't think so.
All right.
All right, next order of business is another continued notice of intent, continued also from April 21st, 2022 for SE 83-2321, Joseph Gilmore, 150 South Street, FKA 181 River Street, Yarmouth, raising 2 single-family dwellings and replacing with 1 9-bedroom single-family dwelling, pool, new septic, redeveloped driveways, and planting mitigation within riverfront areas, land subject to coastal storm flowage and buffer zone to coastal bank. We are ready to go almost with that. We didn't get the plan until today, Dan, so I think the board is a little bit more comfortable just putting it off and just letting them have a chance to take a look through everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so we'll continue this then to
Siri's listening to us.
19th, right?
Could,
Yeah.
with the board's indulgence, because you guys are so good about your attendance and everyone's here, I don't think we'd have a quorum issue. Could I just say a couple sentences just to, and then we'll continue it, just so you remain the flavor of how we're doing?
I don't even think we've looked at it, Dan. 'Cause we
So-
just, they
so I
just
could just-
arrived.
Just got it.
So what I could do is just highlight it, just introduce it, and then we'll continue. I mean, it should only take 1 minute. But I think I think it'd be very well received, and I just wanted to kind of highlight, I mean, with the board's indulgence, Jim
Yeah,
Quirk came down as a friend of the owners and wanted to listen, and maybe if he could just hear.
As
one-
long as you understand that we aren't going to be voting. or
Oh,
anything, and we're not-
absolutely.
and
And
we-
believe me, you're not holding us up. We still got all the stormwater stuff to go through. It's not a problem, but if,
And we will not,
Then-
we
then
won't be asking
wh-
questions then, okay?
yeah,
Why
and
even, if
I
we're
mean,
not
if-
holding them up, why even listen, entertain it?
well, again, I hear you, but just to keep it, it's only 2 weeks ago, but if we go to, 4 weeks, you might not remember, but look at how nice this
We're not-
plan
so we're
is.
not-
This is, so the highlights here are, you recall before we had a great big loop driveway in the back, all this new hardscape, all getting pulled out. We had the bigger pool patio negotiated 15 foot less, reduced down. I dropped the grades around the pool a little bit. So those are the only changes, and then we'll just continue. But so you can see we've got right now the grade on the front is about 9, pool deck 11.5. So the net amount of cubic yardage out there is down a little bit. We eliminated this whole loop on the sidewalk of the driveway. We increased the grass swale here. I increased this grass swale. I increased this grass swale a little bit, just as part of the stormwater to make absolutely sure there's no problems. And I did tuck the pool equipment down behind that retaining wall. So that's it. So we'll continue, and I can go over those in more specificity next time, but I just wanted to introduce that we had reduced it just like the board asked, and I think it should be well received, and be glad to answer any questions at the next hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. All right, so do I have a motion to continue this to May 19th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Tom.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Really appreciate your indulgence on that. Thank you.
No
Sign.
sign. No sign.
Put it off too many medications.
Pass it on down. All right, I'll get my.
All right, next order of business is another continued notice of intent, continued also from April 21st, 2022 for SE 83-2329, Joseph and Dorothy Peterson, trustees, 50 Alms House Road, Yarmouth, proposed upgrade of existing septic system and installation of a new potable water well within the buffer zone to a salt marsh and bordering vegetated wetland and within land subject to coastal storm flowage. And
Mr. Chairman, I thought that was withdrawn.
we still have to officially accept it, so.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So we just have a letter from Laura Gill, right? Yes, Laura Gill.
Yes.
She's saying, "Dear Conservation Commission, as the new owners of 50 Alms House Road, Yarmouth Port, we would like to withdraw without prejudice." I added the words "without prejudice." The notice of intent filed by Joe Peterson. If necessary, we will file a new one in the future. So that has been withdrawn.
No vote.
No vote needed.
No signature.
What? I don't know what we're doing here. We're already at the certificates of compliance and it's not
5:24.
even 5:30. Please,
Talk
somebody.
slower.
Do anything with
It's because of Karen Green. She's so much more efficient.
this. She's amazing.
All right, so with that,
Oh, her running on the bus. She's the
are we
one.
moving on to the certificates of compliance for SE 83-2052-145 South Street, Yarmouth?
Circle.
And
I went,
say,
I
I
went,
gotta say,
yeah,
I gotta
I
study.
went on site and I checked it out. It asked for down wells or drip edges in the whole place that, where the downspouts go are all stone anyway. So everything except for the fire pit and the patio, which the patio is underneath the deck and the fire pit is just inside the 50, but not within the 35. I didn't see that there was an issue to,
okay, is
Issue
that
is,
reflected on the plan too, or?
yes, it does.
Okay, all right. So you're all set with that then?
Yep.
Okay, unless there's any further discussion, would somebody like to make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for SE 83-2052-145 South Street?
So moved, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Second, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay. Right, we are moving on to, actually, I'm going to take this slightly out of order. I'm going to do other business not reasonably anticipated. Anyhow, we're at 8 Harbor Road. There had been a complaint, and David, you had gotten a chance to take a look at it.
Yeah, I went over there, I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, met with the new owners, young couple, very nice. The plot of land is at the corner of Harbor Road and Baxter. It's very, very big as far as the wetland is concerned. The house is on basically a postage stamp. But neighbors seem to be, well, people seem to be throwing things into their lot. So I told them that they could clean out anything man-made. And they aren't in a hurry, so I suggested they wait till we get an agent and unless they wanted to do something, because there's an emergency. There was one tree hanging from the top, but they didn't feel that was, it's already been through four storms, so they didn't think that was, going to hit the house or anything. So they're going to wait and then speak to the agent and get it done.
If I may, it is private property,
Yeah,
the entire parcel.
yes.
So kind of anything that's on there, I mean, I don't know if, I don't know what the commission has done in the past with regards to people dumping on private property. The town isn't kind of in a position
No,
right
they're-
now to do
Yeah, they don't
too
expect the
much.
town to clean it. They
Mm.
wanted to know what they
Great.
could do, period. And I suggested they do talk to their neighbors because I don't think people are traveling a long distance to throw things away. I got the feeling that maybe the previous owner might have I don't have any proof, but might have given permission. But there was a Christmas tree there that was just dumped the week before, and leaves and, spring cleanup stuff. So I suggested they talk to their neighbors. They were a little hesitant because they just moved in and they don't want to be known as bad neighbors. And I said, well, it's up to them. So basically, that's all that really happened.
So just so I can understand, the only question is it's being dumped on wetlands.
Correct,
Thank you.
correct. Their property is mostly wetland in that area.
Okay, and the only other thing I would suggest then is just to make sure that we give them, the new agent will give them a condition that just says only hand removal, no heavy equipment to do any of the removal, that sort of thing, so.
And the only reason they'd have to bring in any equipment would be this one tree is just totally fallen down across four other trees. So I don't know how else they could get to that.
So is
It's
it,
close to the edge of their land.
Well,
It will be a livable
that's an
land.
act of nature, so that would be out of their pocketbook and.
Right, no, they, as I said, they don't expect the town to do anything. They just want to know, since they're new owners, what they could do. They don't expect the town to do anything.
and is the tree in the 50-foot?
Yeah,
Probably because the rest of it's all wetland, right?
yeah, I mean,
So-
I would think the house is almost within the 50 foot.
So are they asking to remove that tree then?
Not at this point. They think the tree has been through many storms. They're just,
Okay.
again, waiting, again, totally new. They knew young people who just bought their first Cape Cod house, and they wanted to make sure what they were doing was right.
Okay, yeah, I would
So-
suggest that they probably not remove a tree if it's in the 50 and it's not a safety issue or
Yeah.
or a hazard to property. I would think we
Well,
should just leave it. but-
It could be, if you have to see it, it's really part of a tree just going across two other trees, just sitting there, so. It could be, but I think they're worth,
Okay,
it's,
well,
they've said
we
they
can
wait.
revisit that
Yeah.
when we get the agent involved as well, so. Okay, so we're all good on that. Was there anybody in the audience for this one in Zoom land?
There is no one in the
Nobody
audience
there.
anymore.
Okay, all right. Unless there's any further questions for that one?
Well, the only thing I can suggest is for them to put up a sign saying no dumping.
There is a sign there, and it's kind of, they're gonna put up a new sign.
Well, the one I suggested to you was town property, no dumping, so that wouldn't do
That
it
wouldn't
because
be
it's private
appropriate.
property.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but, I did suggest they talk to their neighbors and just very
Yeah.
nicely say, people have been dumping, and if you see anybody dumping, could you let us know?
Mhm.
And that way they could take the hint, oh, I guess we're not supposed to dump there anymore.
And they can also, it's an investment in money, but they can put a camera on.
I
and
suggested
think
that
that's
too.
often,
Yeah,
the presence of a camera, I think oftentimes will make
Yeah.
make a whole big
Or even
difference.
just a sign saying it's under video surveillance.
Yeah.
That's a cheaper way to go.
You gotta back it up, though. You gotta back it up.
well, I suggested that, and I will go by and see them either this weekend or next, if they're down.
Okay.
Paul, you had a question?
Yeah, I could certainly understand that they're trying to be good neighbors in regards to their bad neighbors who are dumping stuff on their property, but is it entirely true that the town can't do anything? If it got to be a real problem, they could certainly inquire in the police department.
I suggested that. I said if they got a camera, they could call the
Camera's
police
a
or
good idea.
natural resources, and
There's so many places around where people just think they could dump stuff.
Right.
How will
And I don't know even, what natural resources is no help in these instances.
They didn't go that direction. I
they could
suggested
file-
that if they found somebody doing it, that they should contact
Yeah,
them.
but it looks like it's all brush and leaves and stuff like that.
Brush, leaves, small tree, like a
Yeah,
Christmas
but they
tree.
really can't do much unless they catch them in the act.
Yeah. They
I mean,
can, okay, well,
The
whatever.
best they can
It just-
do is take
It's
a
just a
report.
little concerning when
They
I
can
hear
take a
that
report,
document
but
it.
they can't do much
the
unless they
town
catch them.
can't do anything.
I think they
I would
meant
think
cleaning
the
it
town
up.
could help in some way
Yeah.
if people are dumping illegally on somebody's.
I
property.
was suggesting, Paul, that we can't clean it up.
Oh, no.
That was my suggestion.
Right. We're not going to clean it up, but if they catch somebody or some neighbor says so-and-so is doing this, they would definitely
Yeah, okay.
file a
Okay,
report.
thank you.
And if they do, I mean, if they actually catch somebody dumping stuff into the wetland, I will be more than willing to write an enforcement order
Okay. I'll tell
to
them
that effect, so.
And you call natural resources, they'll be down there too, but you have to
I'm
catch
sure
them in
they
the
will.
act.
Okay, anything further?
2 minutes?
All right, last order of business then is approval of meeting minutes for April 7th and April 21st. So I think
If
we're,
I might,
okay, Tom?
we talked about April 7th before, and we said there were a number of corrections that we probably should make. And the suggestion was that we hold off on the approval or inapproval until people had a chance to look at it. Now, have you had a chance to look at it?
I have not.
No.
Sorry to say.
No? Okay, listen, who's collecting the minutes, the rough minutes now to?
I'm collecting
Who
the
did,
rough minutes.
who did them on April 7th?
April 7th.
Not I.
Was that,
Was it Kelly?
oh, that was Kelly.
No.
It was
Kelly.
Kelly was still here.
It was
Yeah,
Kelly,
Kelly
but
was
she
here.
did this in her rough notes. She gave it, I think, to Heidi.
Okay.
Heidi had no way of going back and checking what, this was an in-between situation. So I have made as many corrections as I can remember and think of.
And I told Heidi that I was on via Zoom, and she said she made that correction. That was a meeting I was on via Zoom, and I said that should be a. in the
Okay,
minutes.
that should
That's
be
in
it.
here.
And she
You
made
want
that
me to
correction.
give you these? Who is now working on these? Heidi?
We have, the commissioners are taking rough draft of the notes and putting them in. Ellie went so far as to type them up for the meeting that she did at the last
First,
meeting. But yeah, if you have edits, Tom, I'm happy to take them and we'll
All right,
incorporate
I'll
them
bring this
in.
up and I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Happy to.
And
All right,
there's
that takes
also-
care. Then we approve the minutes of April 7th with any further corrections. That
You're
might
making
be.
that, you're making that
There-
motion?
There is.
Yes.
There is one that Kelly wrote CC, conservation agent notes that we need to go through on that,
On
I
the,
second that.
7th?
on the 7th. Yeah, it said C conservation notes and Heidi didn't know what she wanted to put in there and I
That
was
was
gonna
for
look at
21
that.
Crest Circle, so I looked at that. That's,
Oh, you
you're
did?
good on
Okay.
that. So,
Says
so
we don't.
that's.
but I just have a question, Tom, because I have the set of minutes that Heidi prepared for everybody that she put out at everyone's place, I think. And do you have additional edits?
Yes.
So do you want to hold those minutes? Because you haven't had a chance to review
Okay.
the edits
We'll
that
hold
Tom's
them.
proposing.
Okay, we'll hold them for another week.
Yeah, that's
All right,
fine.
that's fine. On April 21st, there is no problem at all with these. On page 5, they talk about, under other business, the fact that I had expressed my disappointment in the process and transparency of the selection of the conservation agent. I believed that the commission should have a bigger role in the procedure, as the commission would be working closely with the agent in the execution of Wetland Protection Act that the commission has devoted many hours on behalf of the town to enforce. Commissioner Huggins also feels that the Conservation Commission has been left hanging with little information forthcoming. Is there anybody that wishes to make any addition to that or subtraction? I think that covers everything. I wrote a letter which probably it would be just extraneous right now because we have the commander of the community with us. And
That's an
so
interesting
You're
title.
too kind.
if anybody else would, so that is appropriate for, I don't want to
Feel that's
speak to
appropriate,
everybody.
okay?
All right, so I recommend,
Well, excuse me though, Tom, I
Yes,
think,
sir.
didn't you say Crest Circle's missing out of that?
No, that's-
No.
that's-
sorry, that was a
that's
mistake.
April
Everything's
7th.
good.
Okay, never mind, Tom.
okay.
I stand corrected.
So we will approve I suggest that we approve the minutes of April 21st, 2022.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have not discussed other business not necessarily anticipated this evening.
Do you have other business not reasonably anticipated?
Yes. I do have two items I'd like
Oh,
to.
we have 8 Harbor
Alright,
Road,
the
we have
chair-
to, that's.
We just did that.
We just did a.
Oh, we
that
did,
was me.
sorry.
We will get there.
Am I that
Oh my
forgettable?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good.
We'll let him go back
Oh,
then.
I have so many things running through my head.
It's okay.
But this is.
I'll
It's-
forgive you.
it's-
They're-
it's
they're
it's incredible.
melding in.
Let's wait
And the
until
others will come
until the coffee class.
I'm going to.
And you have good penmanship. So we're good.
Okay. I hope you can read it. Can I give you a call?
Thank you.
Expect.
Okay, so the chair recognizes Commissioner, what's your name again? Bishop.
Thank you. On two occasions, we've raised the idea of an update to our dock regulations. And I didn't know if that were tied to a specific date on the calendar or something we could take up as a commission at a future date. If I'd like to do that, I have a couple items I think merit consideration by the commission. And secondly, we've had brief discussions about establishing a limit to the number of continuations for hearings. You know, we have, as everybody knows, we have hearings that go on and on and on, month after month after month. And I think it's incumbent on us as commissioners to come up with a stop date for that.
Well, so you're talking about continuances without having any testimony,
Correct.
right? Okay, so just to make the difference between that and continued hearings that are working towards a
Correct.
reasonable conclusion. I agree. I think other towns have regulations that pertain to that. We can certainly put those into regulation. Excuse me, so we don't even have to, all we have to do is put them into the regulations, have a hold a public hearing on those regulations, and then they go right into it.
Great.
The doc, I think we can do, again, we can look at docs as far as regulations go. And we were working on, we were actually doing a full regulations revamp, if you all remember correctly. And I'd like to continue to do that. But none of us have the time nor the ability at this point to do that on behalf of the Conservation Commission. So that's something we're gonna have to wait for the administrator to show up. And so we can get that person to do that.
I have a couple of additions I would submit, and we could have that on hand. So when the administrator joins us, that can be reviewed.
So keep that in mind, and we'll, as soon as we get the administrator on board, we won't make it their first activity, but we'll put it on very, very close to their, we'll call it their second activity. How's that?
Excellent. Thank you.
And we can go through that. And because also keep in mind that we were moving toward doing a bylaw
Yep.
update as
Yep.
well,
We
which
were.
those regulations will be part of
Part
then.
of, yeah.
Yes.
We were originally scheduled for trying to do that for the fall, in the fall docket, because we didn't want to rush the springtime. We just weren't quite ready for that. But we are still, I think we're still going to try and go for the fall. And so more news on that to follow. But we want to make sure that the bylaw changes, we have to make sure those are very, very, very tight and
Indeed.
unarguable, since we will be opening up.
Like the difference between
Entire
a dock and a
bylaw.
pier.
Yeah, we'll open
Yeah,
up
well-
the entire bylaw.
Yeah.
Okay, Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Tom?
After you close the meeting there, I have one brief social note.
We will gladly take any social notes at all. So unless there's anything else
Yeah,
from
are we
anybody?
going to talk about a committee to interview? You sent out that email, Karen?
Well, I sent out the email and I think Tom kind of alluded to the email that I had sent to you all, following up with kind of where we are in the process, where we were and where we're going forward. So we've advertised, I meant to bring it. We've advertised, we've re-advertised. I called over to Mac and I got the posting bumped, fortunately, right to the top of the list. And then it's been re-advertised on Indeed. We found a couple of other places, including like Cape Cod Young Professionals. We're hoping to advertise with them. And then the Career Center here on the Cape. And once we have additional, when I have kind of additional updates for you all, I can let you know. And we can have, we can't have everybody participate. We would trigger open meeting law. So if the commission at that point wants to kind of, if we have volunteers, we could take probably up to 3 and go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we can think about that. If somebody would like to put their name forward for that, they can, they don't have to, we don't need to do it in a meeting, in an open meeting for that, but okay, just let me.
And I'll give you, if I sent an email, I didn't have an update. We have a handful, not quite a handful of new applicants, but I sent an email to Sarah just this afternoon, looking for an update, see what we have, and I'll keep you apprised. Hopefully I'll have a good update by your next meeting in 2 weeks from today. So cross your fingers,
When's the closing
beat
for
the
the?
bushes. I left it open
Okay,
because it's easier that way.
Yeah. And you said you did put it on Indeed?
It's on Indeed.
Okay.
That's where the town advertises primarily. It's on the town's website. I thought the Young Professionals was a good idea.
Mhm.
They have a pretty good job board. And then the Career Center. And I'll talk with Sarah if there's other ideas. I know for other positions, we've reached out to the community college for, this is a bit more of a
More
professional
detailed,
Yeah, that's,
job, and ideally we have some experience with the Wetland Protection Act and working with committees, and
I think coastal zone management has
that's a great suggestion.
Woods Hole
That's a
also.
great suggestion.
well, you could do SEMCO, the SEMCO,
Some
The
go-
SEMCODE, Southeastern Mass.
Southeastern Mass
Conservation.
Environment, yeah, it's like, I don't know.
yeah, it's kind of through Woods Hole.
SEMCO.
It's a C though.
It's a C.
CO.
SEMCO.
Okay. All right, those are great suggestions. Oh, and I put it on the Massachusetts Association of Planners. I squeaked it in by saying it's part of the community development team. So, but we got it there. So that's out on a big listserv. And any and all suggestions, I'm all ears. We would love to fill this position.
Question, please.
Yeah.
I just was wondering, does the town typically have a standard process or practice when a position like this opens? Or it sounds like there was a big adjustment from the first attempt to this attempt.
Well, I'll let you finish.
Pardon?
I'll let you finish. It sounded like you had more to
I
say.
think I'm done. It seems like the first round didn't work out for whatever reason. This round, you're talking about contacting all these different agencies or whatever. Did the town ever think of having a standard practice so that there isn't this kind of shifting of gears in
Well,
the process of trying to fill an important position like this?
Yeah,
This is the first time.
it's absolutely, and I think that there's a couple different things that are going on. We have an extremely tight labor market right now, and it's difficult to find anybody. So the first time this last time when we advertised, we really only received, I think it was 11 applications. And we were very fortunate to have the 3 that I referenced solid candidates, which just didn't work out through the,
Wait, Karen, sorry to interrupt, but that, I understand that, but the thing is there a process, an approach, a standard practice that the town uses? Like, for example, when a position opens, a committee is formed in this fashion, whatever that may be. We're looking for, out of the pool of candidates, 3 candidates, let's say, that those 3 candidates are then forwarded to the town administrator, for example. Is there a process like that? Or is it
This
just
is-
make
this
it up
is-
as we go along?
no, we don't make it up as we go along, Paul, not at all. Really. We have what's different from years in past for the commission is we have an HR department now of, we have 1 person. And in general, most of the hires that we do, these are administrative hires. They're appointments and the general process. So the department head makes a recommendation to the town administrator who makes the appointment for that position. So to the extent possible, it's so important that we, I respect the board and the work that the administrator is going to do with the board. So to the extent that it's possible and feasible and, that we can make it work, we will involve committee members. But I think that having, every committee, every person, we just hired a ZBA person and we did not involve a
What kind of
committee.
person?
A ZBA administrator,
I don't know what that is.
a zoning board of appeals administrator,
Thank you.
and we did not involve a committee. So if, it's an administrative function, the hiring of personnel. But that, I don't know if that answers your question
Well,
or
okay,
if.
sure it does. The thing is, so I understand that sometimes you don't involve, I could completely understand you would never involve 7 people on a hiring committee. I understand that. But it seems to me that, kind of stepping over the volunteers in terms of this. What?
You just used the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Stepping over a committee, whether it be in the Board of Appeals or the Conservation Commission or whatever, is something that might be thought about in terms of improving the process. Because the very fact, not only the Conservation Commission, but all other, you have people that are volunteering their time, who are very invested in each one of those committees. And it might be valuable to have one of those individuals or 2 of those individuals, or you said 3 of those individuals participate. And then maybe we wouldn't end up kind of on the rocky roads that we found ourselves in the last instance in this committee or in any committee. It just seems it's kind of disjointed. And the fact is, it's not only in terms of this process that I became concerned with, it's the process for the whole town. Is there a smooth process that this town employs in order to find the best candidates in the best possible way? I wasn't convinced of that in this particular situation, but, I'm still learning about how you do things,
Well, and I think we're fortunate to have a HR department now. We didn't always have that. And so kind of administratively, we've relied on them to do the advertising. I think, you're making good suggestions. I'm happy to pass them along and just go from there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, all right, anybody else? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? I heard
Second,
somebody.
whoever the
All right.
second is,
That was a
first, second.
tie.
I'll go
So
with
David?
Rick motion, Ellie second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Stand adjourned at